Notre Dame, Miami.
Yeah. So there's basically 3 ranked matchups this weekend according to the AP poll, and we're just going to work through those 3. Those happen to be what really stuck out to me as the biggest games. We won't necessarily always do every ranked matchup. It's a big one, though. Both these programs had a lot of turnover in the offseason. I know we're not going to try and talk about the offseason a ton. You've seen the preview. But Notre Dame's favored by 2.5 going to Miami, which is not the hardest place to play. They play in, Hard Rock Stadium?
Yep.
Where the Dolphins play.
Yes.
So they never pack it out. Is it probably a pretty good crowd for week 1?
It's sold out.
Sold out, wow. But, they're not going to be like all these Miami
Odds are it's 70-30. I don't think
Yeah.
it will look any different than the last time Notre Dame was there and it sold out.
Sure.
Where it was still a lot of Notre Dame fans, but
Mhm.
it is sold out. I can confirm that.
Cool. Big game off rip for both teams. Both have playoff hopes. Neither have, I guess both have a couple big games on their schedule, but Miami's ACC slate in particular is not massive. And then Notre Dame, kind of goes here and there, play a couple other SEC teams. But it'd be a great way to start off the season with a huge resume booster, something to hang their hats on throughout the season, even if they go lose a couple games. Just general thoughts on the games from y'all before I keep going.
I'm excited. Sunday night, we'll,
Sure.
I assume watch this after we react to week 1
Yep.
in our Sunday show.
For sure.
I'm really interested to see. I think right off the top, I just want to see how Carson Beck looks in a Miami uniform. Not necessarily like how does he play, but just does he look?
Does it look right?
Does it look right? I
Yeah.
think that's a big thing. Cam Ward immediately just kind of popped and was like, yeah, he looks good in a Miami uniform, and obviously he played well because of it. But I think right off the bat, before you even dive into it, I think Miami's a little bit overmatched here.
Sure.
And I think the only thing they got going for him is that a freshman is starting at quarterback for Notre Dame and C.J. Carr.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal, and I'll get into that now. Riley Leonard's gone. It's C.J. Carr's team, like you just mentioned. He beat out Kenny Minchie in fall camp. But it's not like he's going up against the most daunting defense in theory. The Miami defense was not good last year, and that's one of my keys to the game for Miami, though, is we've heard all camp about how improved the secondary is. They're not going to be Swiss cheese this year. But, let's see it now because it's been all talk. And while C.J. Carr is young, he's talented, and they do still have some good weapons there. Jaden Greathouse comes to mind in terms of in that Notre Dame receiving core. So can C.J. Carr, do enough? / he may not have to, because if they can't stop Jeremiah Love on the ground, it doesn't matter. And so I think that's probably going to be Miami's game plan is let's crowd the box, stop Jeremiah Love. We claim the secondaries improve. So let's let them play one-on-one and just match up and win like that. And I think that's probably their hope.
That's exactly what I was going to say is I think that both teams will have – I think Notre Dame's game plan will be to run the ball, and I think Miami's game plan will be to stop the ball. I think Notre Dame's going to try and take advantage. Are those your notes, JP, about how they've got 2 top 200 prospects on the O-line and then 3 future draft
that
picks?
was my key to the game right now is just can you stop Jay Love?
Yeah.
And not even just him. Jadarian Price is very capable as well. Notre Dame's got 2 guys that are going to be drafted this year, and then they have 3 guys that are going to be drafted in the future as well. That was a big question going into last year was immediately we're going to start a true freshman at left tackle against Texas A&M and that pass rush, and they stepped up and handled it.
Went pretty well for them,
Then they would deal with injuries on the offensive line throughout the year as well. And in any big game they played in, besides Northern Illinois, but maybe that's not a big game at the time, they dominated the line of scrimmage. They dominated Georgia on the line of scrimmage, and it was really, really impressive to see. I think, like I said, Miami is overmatched because this offensive line is so good, and I really think Jay Love and Jadarian Price are going to really run the ball really well. And if that's happening, the play-action game for C.J. Carr and Notre Dame is going to be great with Jaden Greathouse and Malachi Fields as well. And so I'm scared for Miami. The personnel is there, kind of, but it's unproven personnel. That's the biggest thing right now. It's just from a recruiting perspective and a transfer rating perspective, the defense is good, but it's so unproven right now. And defense last year was the worst part of the team. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. Cam Ward had to go out there and score 40 points a night just for them to be competitive and win games. And as it got late in the season, they couldn't stop anyone, and Cam Ward eventually just couldn't score enough, and they missed the playoff. It was kind of, I would say it was a disappointment entirely, considering Cam Ward and the talent that he is. To have the number 1 overall pick in the draft and not make the playoff in the ACC, I think that's a problem. And they know that, and so the defense is going to have to just improve a lot this year. I don't expect it to be ready, though, week 1 against Notre Dame.
It's definitely a tough early test. And then flipping it and looking at Miami's offense against Notre Dame's defense, talked about how good Miami's offense was last year. There is no Cam Ward. They lost all their top pass catchers. And then comes Carson Beck, who I think is a QB we're all pretty high on. But we saw at times last year at Georgia he's someone that needs help, right? He, at least in his form last year, maybe he's improved. He wasn't someone that was going to find a play, right? Throw a perfect back shoulder ball into someone that's very, blanketed with coverage, stuff like that. So I think that's kind of Miami's or Notre Dame's hope on defense is just take away Carson Beck's weapons, make him beat you, right? Yep. Make him, take the easy stuff, march down the field, because he wasn't great at that at Georgia last year, especially, you can just hammer his run game, take away the run, make him become a pure passer. I think you'll find you can potentially falter, and then they can win that way.
I think this will be a good test of Miami's weapons because I didn't love the weapons they brought in. They were these guys who haven't had good, it was guys who either had average years at small schools, G5 schools, or P4 guys who redshirted last year and just didn't play. So they don't really have anyone proven in that wide receiver room. So that'll be interesting to see how does Beck perform with that in that situation, because at his best he had Brock Bowers. 2 years ago he had Brock Bowers and he was very good and went in the next year as a projected number 1 overall pick. I think he was the Heisman favorite. Brock Bowers is not there, and his wide receivers have lots of drops. They don't play well, and Carson Beck doesn't have as good a season. Then he gets hurt. So I'll be interested to see when he comes back from this injury, how does he look? Does he click with his weapons? And do they prove themselves? Because most of them are unproven currently.
I see it on the flip side. I don't think it's a story of, and maybe it's saying the same thing, but I don't see it as a make Carson Beck beat you, and that's why I wrote make Carson Beck's wide receivers beat you, and it is because they are young, unproven talents with C.J. Daniels, a transfer from LSU, but then 2 guys that haven't really played a lot of snaps that they recruited, in JoJo Trader and Ray Joseph, which, first of all, sick names. I think that gives them some upside to potentially be stars with JoJo Trader and Ray Joseph. What a dynamic duo that could be, but we haven't seen them. And so I think for Notre Dame, considering what they have in the secondary, and Leonard Moore, he's going to be in the first 2 rounds in 2 years, but Christian Gray is a corner who's going to be drafted this year. Devontae Smith is a capable corner as well. And then they have 2 safeties that are going to be drafted this year as well, in Adon Schuler and Jalen Stroman. So I would pack the box. I would try to take away Miami's run game, and then I would put these corners, your players, on islands with these receivers and make the receivers beat you. Which I don't know. Is that saying the same thing?
It's kind of. I think we just amended meet in the middle. Make their passing game beat you.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think that's because right now the passing game as a whole, from quarterback to wide receiver, is unproven. The wide receivers because we haven't seen them, and Beck because we haven't seen him play well without an elite NFL talent in Brock Bowers. So over under Notre Dame -2.5.
I have Notre Dame covering.
Yep, this is an island game. It is Sunday at 6:30. Very excited. You've got Notre Dame covering.
Yeah.
I think I'll also pick Notre Dame to cover. I will have them winning by more than 3 points or 3 or more points. JP?
I think this is... I don't want to bet this one because I think C.J. Carr is too much of an unknown, even with the unknowns that Miami has, that I don't trust it. But I would take Notre Dame to cover and win as well to start the year off in Miami.